Hi everybody. The previous module on Piaget's cognitive theory would have given you a better insight of how a child's cognition develops in the first 6 years, with special focus on suggestive activities that a facilitator should adopt based on the implications of the theory. However, the thinking process of a child is not completely supported by means of Piaget's cognitive approach. So it becomes essential to understand the concept of information processing and multiple intelligence of young minds. The sixth module comes to you in the form of 3 videos. The first video would elaborate on Richard Schifrin and Atkins' model of information processing. The second video would elaborate you on about the Gardner's model of multiple intelligence. And however, both these videos will explain you with suitable examples for better understanding. The educational implications of these two approaches would be dealt in the third video of this module. At the end of this first video, you will be able to gain insight into how the human mind processes the information and derives meaning out of it. Information processing approach, just like Piaget, supports the idea that every child is active and inquiring by nature. However, the development is considered to be a continuous process. This approach views that mind is a computer wherein information from outside is taken in by encoding and stored in symbolic form by various other internal processes like recoding or decoding in such a way that the individual is facilitated to make sense of their experiences out of the information received. Richard Atkinson and Richard Schifrin have proposed the most accepted store model of information processing in the form of a flowchart that is going to explain to you. According to their model, each human being has got 3 parts, mainly sensory register, working memory or otherwise known as short-term memory, and the third one is long-term memory. Now, let us look into the course of action of how the information gets processed by a child by means of the flowchart. Any information enters the human mind through the sensory register, but cannot be retained for long. For example, when looking into an image around you for a moment and closing your eyes after that, it is not possible to remember the image for a longer time unless you take up certain deliberate strategies to remember it. Then sets in the working or short-term memory. This is referred to as a conscious part of the human mind. A certain amount of information can be stored and processed actively in this part of mental system. For example, certain memory strategies such as association or organization or repetition of items or the images will be adopted by us to remember that particular lot of items or image. Then the third is the long-term memory. This is the third way station to the human mind and is referred to the permanent knowledge base. All the information entering into the human mind is shelved based on the content, much like books shelved in the library. As the capacity for long-term memory is limitless, the major problem encountered is the retrieval of information. Hence, novel strategies have to be adopted to retrieve a piece of information from the long-term memory to the second way station, that is short-term memory, for active processing. 3 major control processes has to be taken up towards this working of human mind. And now let us understand the 3 major control processes of human mind and its working. The control process or mental strategies that the human mind uses at every level of the mental system increase their efficiency in their thinking ability as well as retaining them for further processing and reference. The 3 major mental strategies that a human mind uses are attention, memory, and metacognition. Now, let us understand the 3 control processes in detail. First one is attention. Attention is the base of human thinking mechanisms as it is the first strategy that determines the extent of information to be fed into the mind. The young children in their infancy and toddlerhood stage have got minimum attention span and are distracted very easily. However, during early and middle childhood, the span of attention improves drastically. In their infancy stage, the child focuses on novel and stimulating events. Then during toddlerhood, the goal-directed behavior increases and thereby the attention span improves gradually. However, by the end of the early childhood period, their attention span extends up to 7 minutes. It is also said that by the end of 6th year, planful attention sets in, though not mature. The second control process is memory. Mental activities that are carried out deliberately to improve the likelihood of remembering is called memory strategies. This particular strategy emerges during the preschool years but improves drastically during middle childhood. The language skills gained during the early childhood years also aid in memory of preschoolers. Any information fed to the human mind is stored using 3 processes, namely rehearsal, organization, and elaboration. Rehearsal is nothing but the repeating scheme of information to oneself. Organization refers to the grouping of related items in the information. Elaboration is a process of creating a relationship between 2 or more information. With these processes, the information fed passes on from sensory register to short-term memory and then to long-term memory. Once the information is shelved in the long-term memory, it has to be retrieved to use it for future, which is again possible in 3 ways, namely recognition, recall, and reconstruction. Recognition is the strategy of realizing that information received is similar to the one previously experienced. Recall refers to the capacity to generate a mental representation of an absent stimulus. Reconstruction is an information that is said to be reconstructed by adding or condensing or integrating the stored information. What is metacognition? Metacognition is defined as the awareness and understanding of various aspects of thought. This strategy starts during early childhood and expands greatly in the middle childhood, just like memory. The 2 major phases of metacognition experienced by children in their early years are mind reading, that involves the ability to detect their own as well as others' feelings or desires, etc. The second one is what it means to think. This facet allows a child to aim at certain realizations such as the word umbrella is too big to pronounce, so I would syllabify and then pronounce. Hope this video had given you a deep insight into the information processing approach and the flowchart of Atkinson and Shiffrin's model, how an young mind processes the information through the set control processes. The next video will talk about the Gardner's multiple intelligence. Thank you.